Okay, guys, welcome to the today's class. Let's start with so today will be most important topics with respect to the list function, list data type that we learned yesterday. So I will just give you a quick uh, revision, and then we can start with list functions, right? We'll start this list function, and today mainly we will learn about append append, then there will be extend, then there will be insert. So these are for addition of items, and then we will try to see for removal of items also, right? So similarly for you know uh, remove removal of items from the list. So we will also look those functions also. So before that, let me just give you a quick recap. Come on, yes, quick recap on what we learned yesterday. So we kind of covered very less things yesterday. So the very first was a definition of list. So list is a data type. It's a data type similar to string or integer, float, or dictionary, and uh, that's it. So it's a data type, which is a definition is it is a collection of items that are separated by comma, and this is also which should be inside square braces. So this is a very simple example in terms of list. So this is a list of integers where we added a like these all are inside a square braces and separated by comma. Okay, and the next statement was it can store various data types. It can store various data types like integers, floats, then strings and set or tuple, then even a dictionary, then another list inside list, and even it can store data frames, which we learn going ahead. And it can also allow duplicate items. So this is the example of duplicate item, which is 3 and 3. It appeared twice, but still list allowed it to keep it inside a list, and it is a mutable one. So what is mutable? Like we can change any item from the list. So one classic example that we took, so new list was this, it was looking like this, right? And then yeah, so new list was looking like this. Then what we did is we kind of removed this string. Just a second. We kind of remove this string from and replaced it with what? Virat, right? Replaced it with Virat. Now you can see there is no string right now. There is no string right now. Right? This one, uh, uh, uh. This one was crossed, and then we added Virat here. Okay, so this is how it is. Then we kind of then we learned about indexing. So what is indexing? There are two types of indexing. The very first is positive indexing, and then the next is negative indexing. So what is positive indexing? It starts from to 0 to it goes to like infinity. So this is like 0, 1, 2, and this is 3, right? This is 3. So we count from left to right. We count left to right. So this is positive index, right? This is positive index. Then we learn what is negative index. Negative index is something which starts from right to left, and so that it Sevak becomes -1, this becomes -2, -3, -4, right? -3, -4, minus. And the default or start it starts with -1. So that's why we said this is -1, -2, -3, and -4, and it goes to negative infinity. It goes to negative infinity. Later we learned slicing, right? Slicing. So this is a syntax of slicing. Right? This is the syntax of slicing. Syntax of slicing. So where you need to mention a name of list which you want to change, name of list which you want to change. So this list one is the example is this list one where we added some integers, one string, and then if I want to slice this particular list, I have to mention the list name, then I have to open the square braces, and I have to open the square braces. You can see I have to open a square braces. Then first thing will be start index. So 0 is a start index, which is again a default value. Then I have to add a end index followed by colon, right? Followed by colon. So the default value is length of list, length of list, right? Length of list. So length means whatever the items are there, like how many items are there in this particular list. We have 6 items. So length of the list will be become 6, right? Length of the list will become 6. So let me just give you uh, example of that. So length of list one will become 6. Okay. So you can either write like this or you can directly put 6 here, and then the last thing is followed by a colon is step size, and the default value is 1, right? The default value is 1. Then we did slicing, actual slicing. So from this list 1, this entire list 1, we wanted only first 3 items. We wanted only first 3 items. So what we did is for this first 3 items, we used 0 is to 3. So 0 for 1, right? 0 for 1, and 3 is for Virat. So when you will cut this down, basically when you will cut this down, so the scissor or slicing, when you do slicing of anything, like let's say you have a pineapple and you cut it with a scissor or knife. So when you will cut, you'll have to do like this, right? So I've cut this string or a list, something like it. So from third for third item, for third item, for third item, Virat is the third item. So I've cut this Virat, and what I've got is 1 is to 4, 147, right? 147 is something that I've got. Then next is I think we used negative indexing, which is not there. I think we used later on. Then we understood what is step size. So for step size, we know what example that we have to consider, that is Mr. Mario game, right? So Mr. Mario stands here, where exactly here? Here initially. So when you give step size of 2, it will jump from 1 to 7 and 7 to 8, right? Like this. So it will come, the output will be 1, 7 and 8. If the step size would have been 3, it would have jumped from it would have jumped from 1 to directly Virat and then the next place, but basically there is no next place, so there will be only 1 and 7 as output. Okay, 1 and 7 as output. So we learned step size also. And then the classic example or a classic question that interviewers mostly ask, what they ask is like, give us, given a string, so given a list, so they will give you any list, and they will just say, ki, like, just reverse it, do whatever you can do. So this is simplest solution that you can present there. You can give negative step size, right? -1. It will simply reverse your entire string or your even entire list. Okay. It works for string also, it works for list also, but it doesn't work for other data types. So we will learn that. Wait. Okay. Then we learn how to check items from the list, right? We learn how to check items from the list. Let me just, yeah, we learn how to check items from the list. So particularly, 1 minute, let me put my laptop on charge. Mm, is it? I hope so. No. It's not charging. Anyways, so we learned about checking the items from the list. Okay, we learned about what is how to check items from the list. So this is a given list. We want to check items like whether 1.2 is present or not, right? Or Python is there or not. So what I did is I used in operator. I said Python in list 2. Python in list 2. So it checked, yes, it is there, right? It is there. So we can see Python in list 2 present. Then we used if or else statements to check the same. So this is a similar condition. This is a similar condition where we check 1.2 whether it is there or not in the particular list. And then for loops or even while loops are also very essential when you want to check the items from a particular list. So we wanted to iterate through entire list. So I used for loop like for I is a iterator, right? You can use anything I, J, K, or any, you know, any text or any variable works here. So like for cities, in cities, you can also say that print cities. So it basically I went into cities. This particular I went into cities. It checked like whether Sambhajinagar is there, Pune is there, Mumbai is there, Dhule is there, and Nagpur is there. So it will print out each and everything, right? Each and everything. Then we learn about range function. So what range will do with range and list or for with range and for you can access or you can print anything multiple times. So basically range is something to multiply whatever you want. So in when we learned range also, so with combination of range and list, you can create dummy lists, right? Dummy list. So one classic example is like I wanted to create a list of 1 to 100 numbers and only even numbers. Sorry, only odd numbers, right? You can also consider this as a interview question. Like they will say create a list of 50 numbers 50 odd numbers, right? 50 odd numbers. So they'll say like this, create a list of 50 odd numbers. So you should not kind of go and create it manually like this. List, list to 12 is equals to, and you should not do this. You should not do this. This will make you look dumb in front of interviewer. So you should rather use this function like list of range of 1 comma 100. So it will start from 1, it will go to 100 and you added a step size of 2. So it will miss a, like in between word. So what is the word between 1 and 3 is 2. So it will miss because this is a step size, right? And again, Mr. Mario comes in picture who jumps from one word to the second word and goes on. So if you want to make this, even number, so what you will do is you will simply replace this one with 0. Replace this one with 0 and it will become even numbers 0 to 4 and so on, right? 0 to 4 and so on. But what if interviewer says don't mention 0 here? I want from 2. So you can directly start with 2. So it will be like this 2 4 and the list it will become a question for create a list of 50 even numbers, right? So with this simple code your question will get solved. With this simple code your question will get solved. I think this was about it. So let's move on to today's topic. Let's move on to today's topic. So let's learn list functions and initially primarily we will learn append function, extend function and then insert function. Okay, append function, insert function, extend and insert function. So let's not worry about these. I am not sure if we will be able to complete those, but let's try. So the very first function is append function, right? Is append function. So I hope yesterday's all functions are clear, guys. I hope everything is clear from yesterday. Those who were there, there were less people, but I try to cover it up. So okay, let's go to next function. So yesterday's class recording is also there. I will upload it on YouTube, so you can go and refer. But notes are already uploaded on GitHub, so you can go and check on GitHub. So this link is in the group. You just have to go and check this list 1.7.1. So this is from yesterday. Okay, go and practice this particular list or particular file. It's the same that I've just told you. So let's focus on append function. Okay, so what is append function? So it is used to add the items in the list. So the by default it adds the item at very end. So let me tell you what I am just saying. With a one example, then we will write something here. Okay, so let me just give you a basic example. Let's say list equals to a list of numbers 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. Okay, 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. So append or even extend or even insert functions are used for addition of items in the list. Okay, addition of item in the list. So what does that mean? Basically, I want to add anything inside this particular list. I want to add something inside this list. So what I will do is I will use append function. And what append function will do, like this, like list dot append. So you just have to say list dot append, and you have to mention in parenthesis that whatever the number, let's say I want to add 77 number in this particular list. Okay, in this particular list. So if I do that, and if I kind of ask this list, what will happen is I will get this 77 added at the end, right? Added at the end. So what we have learned here. So list or append function, append function is used to add any items in the list, right? By default, by default, it adds the item at the end, or you can say minus one index minus one. So we know, right? So this is minus one. 5 is a minus one, right? 5 is a minus one. So if 77 will get added just after 5, so 77 become minus one index, right? Minus one index. So one more thing is there, like if you add another list inside a list, right? Another list to it. So let me just give you another example, or maybe the same example. So this list is being added with, let's say, append function, and then there is this curly parenthesis, and I want to add 66 comma 88. Okay, I want to add this another list into this list. Okay, another list into this list. So so this these small list will become a sub list here, right? Will become a sub list here. So let me show you what does that mean. What does that mean? So you can see this has become a sub list in a primary list. Okay, the second list has become a sub list in a primary list, right? So let me just make these notes. So when multiple items to append, right? Multiple items to append, they will be added as a sublist. Okay, they will be added as a sublist. So you can see here, these two items has been added at the last index or at the end of the list, and it looks like this. So this has become a sublist. The next or the second list has become a sublist. So any question till now? I think this was all about it. This was all about it. There is nothing fancy in this particular append function. So if this is clear, type yes with so many yes in the comments. Type yes in so many yes in the comments. Right? If this is clear, type yes in the with so many comments. Let me just give you one small example. Like let's say we have a football players. Okay, football players like Cristiano. Okay, Cristiano, or we have very famous one is Messi. Then who else we have? I think Neymar is also a famous one. Then I think who else? Zidane is someone who is also a famous one, right? Let's say we have these football players, right? And I want to add some cricket players in this football players. So what I will do is I will say football dot append, right? Football dot append, and I will say I want my Indian cricket players like Virat should be there. I want Rohit should be there. I want Dhoni, like Dhoni is everyone's favorite. He should be there. So I want these player in football player also. Like I know this player can play football, but I want to keep them. I want to look them like little bit separate one. So I will use append function here. So if I run this, they will get added in a football players, but they will still be in a separate sub list, right? Separate sub list. So I hope this is clear. I hope there are yes, yes, and yes. Great. Awesome. Awesome. So we can straight away move to the next function, which is extend, right? Which is extend function. Okay. Extend function. Let's understand what is extend function. So extend function is almost same like append function. Sir, what are you saying? If it is already same, then why we are doing this? So there is a very small difference in extend and intend append, that I added these cricket players in the football players, but they don't really mix with the football players. But with the help of extend function, so if I take the same example, right? If I take the same example and instead of append, I say extend. Okay. So now what will happen? This football team will accept all these players, right? Here it looks like we try to add these Indian cricket players into our football players, but they are really not accepting them, right? Basically, this is a sublist is getting added. But if I use extend function, this football players has to accept our Indian players. So you can see this as an example. So it is almost same like append function. The elements will get added at the end, right? At the end of a primary list, but they won't be get added as a sublist, right? They won't get added as a sublist. So let's make some notes here, right? So extend is used to add the items in the list, right? Both both does the same, right? Both does the same. By default, it adds items at the minus one index, or at last last index. Okay, last index. So it adds the elements at a last index here. you can see at the end, basically minus 1th index. Then next we understood is when multiple items to be added, right, to be added, they will get added as a single items. So you can see these are not together, like three people are not together and not getting added as a single list. These are getting added as a independently, single items are being getting added. Okay, these are simply getting added. Understood? Understood? This was easy, right? This was easy. So I hope this is also clear. If there is any question, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, we can go ahead, right? Otherwise, we can go ahead. Otherwise, we can go ahead. So let's take one example of for loop. Maybe let's say we have this. Mm, mm, how do I tell you? Okay, let me just give you one example of if you don't really understand what's happening there, but it should you should like understand like why append and extend is used. So I'm just giving you one example of append. So how that is being used, but when we will learn for loop going ahead, so that will this will make more sense when you do that, when you learn that. But let's say I have a string like this. Okay, this is a string. Anything which is inside double quotes are string. So what is my job is, so this again becomes an interview question. So given a input, given an input, segregate segregate numbers into even and odds, right? Even and odds. Okay, this becomes a question. So they will give you input like this, and they will say, segregate these numbers into even and odd lists. Okay, even and odd list. So this question is in front of us, and we don't really know how to do it. But we know there is a append function which adds the item into list, right? So we want to add some numbers, whether they are even and odd, we something want to add into the list, right? So here we will consider append function, right? Append function. So this is how you have to think, right? This is how you have to think. Then I can see there are some even and odd numbers, right? Even and odd numbers. So I remember when I was learning about operators, when I was learning about operators, when I was learning about operators, so there was this modulus operator which was giving me some remainders, right? Remainders. So if I if I divide any, let's say even number, let's say 2 is a even number, right? And if I use modulus and divide by 2, so what I will get is 0, right? Let me just show you. So 2 modulus of 2, it will give me 0. It means, so if I use any even different even number, I will still get modulus as 0, right? Right? It means if I use this formula, if I use this formula, and if I get output as 0, right? Output as output as 0, output as 0. It means it means the number is the number is even, right? The number is even. Or you can think in a different way also, like let's take even odd number, and if you do the same, so what you will get, you will get output as 1, output as 1, right? Take any even number, like take any sorry, take any odd number, you will get output as 1, right? So it means the number is odd, right? The number is odd. So I have these two formulas. So basically here on this point I want to use numbers, right? So now I'm coming back to the question. So I've got these two things. I want to do something. So I will make particularly two list, empty list. So I will say first as a even and second as a odd. Okay. So I have made this two list. Okay. So I will use some append function and I will add even number in the empty list. I will add the odd numbers in the odd empty list. Okay. So I will use I will make a use of append function going ahead, and I need to use this formula somewhere, or this formula, or maybe this formula, and I have to add them. So there is a for loop, you can do that. Okay, for loop we can do that. So you don't really have to understand this particular operation that I'll do, because we have not learned for loop. But let's say you understand that now. So I said for I in yes, right? For I in this particular yes. So yes is a string, right? So I will just say input. Okay, I am saying that is as an input. So I am saying for I in input. So what this I does, it iterates from to each number, right? I is a iterator. I is a iterator. So I am passing this I and checking all these items. Okay, checking all these items, and I am saying if if integer of I integer of I अगर ये I let's say 1 है, okay, or integer of I which is modulus of 2, and if it is 0, then even dot append integer of I. Okay, integer of I. So I will have to use double because I need to assign it. Okay, so what I am saying here is integer of I, because this is a string. Okay, this is a string, so when it will pass through each and every number, so I basically this one number, one will come here first, then two will come, 8, 9 and so on. So I am saying अगर I और जो भी नंबर यहाँ पर आएगा 1 मॉड्यूलस ऑफ 2 अगर 0 रहेगा तो वो इंटीजर सॉरी वो इवन रहेगा, राइट? बट 1 ऑफ मॉड्यूलस ऑफ 2 विल नॉट बी 0, राइट? लेट्स से 1 ऑफ the very first number is 1, right? The very first number is 1. So 1 of modulus of 2 is how? It is 1. So that is not 0. So this operation will not happen. So what will happen is else odd dot append int of I. So basically अगर यहाँ पर ये condition false हो जाएगा तो वो number automatically it will be a odd number, right? That number will be odd number. So let's check even even and odd. Okay, even and odd. So I'm printing even and odd. Okay. So next first तो हमें one number तो हमें पता चल गया. When one will be checked here, it will not be added into a even, right? It will be added into odd. Then 2 will be here. So 2 will be get checked here. 2 modulus of 2 is 0. So this condition will be true, right? This condition will be true. Then this will get added into even list, right? So let me just run this and see. You can see for even all the even numbers are here, like 2, then 8, then 4, then 8 and so on, and odds are here, right? Odds are here. So this is how, like, if you have understood this 50% also, then I am successfully, like, I am success in my job. I've got success in my job. Otherwise, when we will learn this for loop, you will understand this entirely. Okay, you will understand this entirely. So basically I wanted to explain you why append function is used. Okay, if is there any question, please drop in the comments. If there is any question, please drop in the comments. Otherwise we can move to our repeat again. Okay, great, sure. So to make it easy, what I will do is, to make it easy, what I will do is I will just take this instead of you know string, I will take as uh, you know as a list. Okay, as a list. and I will just remove this int. I will just remove this int because those are already integers. Okay, since we are learning list, I will do that. Okay, so now I've got this input instead of that one. Okay, I've got this input instead of that one. That was a string, this is a list. Okay, since we are learning list, we'll understand like this. So this list, my interviewer says, or my manager says, I've got this data. Now segregate this data into even and odd. Okay, into even and odd. I know there are some numbers which are even here, like 2 and 6, and others are odd. So I want to segregate those, right? So what I have done is I've created this to empty list, and I've just learned append function. So I know what append function do. What append function will do? Append function will add into lists, right? Append function will add into a list. So I've created this, let me just check first this works or not. Okay, this works. So what I've created these variables even and odd, right? Even and odd. So I am saying here at this condition. Forget about for loop, what for loop does. Okay, forget about what for loop does. We have learned if and else statements. Okay, we have learned if and else statements. So I'm just taking this out. Okay, okay, what happened? Okay, I'm just uh, okay, I'm just taking this out, and I am saying 2 modulus of 2, if it is 0, if it is 0, if it is 0, add this particular string into a list. Okay, even number. Okay, add this particular list into this particular this list. Okay, so I'll just take this particular list here. So I'm saying I have defined this even is equal to empty list, and I'm just saying if and else. If 2 modulus of 2 is 0, then add, so then this number will consider as even number. This number will consider as even number. So what I will do is I will just run this and I will check, okay, this number is even. Okay, this number is even. So then I will check 21. Okay, 21. I'm checking 21 now. So if this number modulus of 2 is 0, then it will be a even number. And if it is not, then I am still saying even dot append not even. Okay, I'm still saying even लिस्ट में ही append कर दो कि वो number even नहीं है. ठीक है, वो number even नहीं है. So if I run this now, what will happen is it will check whether it is true. This condition is true. अगर ये true नहीं है, then this code block will false, right? This code block will not run, and this code block will run. Like else, अगर ये होता है तो ये करो, अगर नहीं होता है else, अगर नहीं होता है तो ये करो. So now if I check this, you can see it says this is the number is not even, right? The number is not even. So now we see this I, which is a iterator, it will check each and every number. Okay, for loop का काम ही होता है कि it will check each and every number, each and every number. So अगर मैं यहाँ पर print I कर देता हूँ, ठीक है, print I कर देता हूँ, so you will see print I कर देता हूँ, तो you will see कि ये हर एक नंबर चेक कर रहा है. See 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, राइट. मैंने क्या करा, ये I प्रिंट किया. So it is checking for first 1. तो 1 चेक करेगा, 1 मॉडुलस ऑफ 2 0 आ रहा है क्या, नहीं आ रहा है, इट इज बिकमिंग फॉल्स, राइट, इट इज बिकमिंग फॉल्स. जैसे ये फॉल्स होगा ये कंडीशन एक्टिव हो जाएगी. और यहाँ पर हम क्या कह रहे हैं कि ये ऑड नंबर में ऐड कर दो, अपेंड कर दो इन ऑड, राइट. क्यों? because this condition is false, और अगर ये false है it means the number is odd, और अगर ये true है it means the number is even, right? अगर ये ट्रू हो जाता है तो दिस कंडीशन विल वर्क, अगर ये फॉल्स हो जाता है तो दिस कंडीशन विल वर्क, राइट? दिस इज दिस इज अ चेकिंग ऑपरेटर, बेसिकली वी आर चेकिंग कि i डिवाइड बाई 2 और i मॉडुलस ऑफ 2 जीरो आएगा तो वो इवन नंबर रहेगा, और अगर जीरो नहीं आएगा तो वो ऑड नंबर रहेगा, ठीक है? सो दिस इज हाउ इट इज डूइंग बेसिकली. I hope this is clear. Like there is nothing major. If this is clear, type yes in the comments, everyone. I will get the idea if this is clear. So I'm just kind of putting some extra, like I'm going very slow and very deep in very small concepts so that your logic will build initially. Okay, so great. You're getting it. So that's what I wanted to know. All right, and and the very last function, not for today's actually, but the very last function with respect to adding the items in the list is insert, is insert function. Okay, is insert function. So yeah, it's there. So insert function basically. mm, so right now what we have learned till now is we are just adding any number, right? Adding any number, but those numbers, right? Those numbers or those values are getting added at the end. Every time those things are getting added at the end. But what if I want to add this Dhoni at at the middle or somewhere in the at the start or at the end? Okay, wherever I wanted to add. So then this insert function comes into picture. Okay, this insert function comes into picture. So you have to say insert of, this is a syntax. Okay, you have to say inters insert, and then you have to mention index, and given a comma you have to mention the value. Okay, what does this mean? I'll just tell you. Okay, so this is a syntax. Okay, so let me just give you one small example. Let's say we have list 44 equals to a small list or a same, like let's say we have Messi and we have Neymar. Okay, we have Neymar. But what I want to do, I want to add a cricket player in between these. Let's add one more. Okay, I say Kaka. Okay, Kaka is also there. So I want to add one more cricket player inside here at position one. Okay, at position one. So we are talking about index here. So I said list 44 dot insert. Okay, dot insert. So initially what I will mention is I will mention the location. Okay, I will mention the location. You can see it says supported index, index of support index and then object. Okay, so at index 1 I want to add this value, that is Mr. Dhoni. धोनी के ऐड कर दो. कहाँ पर ऐड कर दो? At index 1. So we know the indexing, right? So Messi is 0, then Neymar is 1, this is 2, right? But at index 1 we want to add this Dhoni here. Okay, we want to add Dhoni here, so Dhoni will become 1. Okay, Dhoni will become 1. So if I run this, you will see uh, list 44, and if I run this you can see Dhoni has been added at the 1, right? Dhoni has been added at location 1, right? Dhoni has been added at location 1. Now if you check Dhoni's index, like list 44 of 1, you will get Dhoni. The index 1 is Dhoni, right? So this is how the insert function is used. So insert, append and extend are almost similar. They are all are used for adding the items in the list, but append is something that will add at the end, extend will also add at the end, but insert will add at whichever location you want, right? At whichever location you want. One more example, let's say list x is equals to, I'm just taking numbers now. Okay, I think 0 will probably throw some error or will not. 0 will also work. So now let's say you want to add list of x dot insert. You just have to add, you just have to say inc, it will come up. Okay, insert. And at the location, let's say at here, location at 2. Okay, so this is 0, 3 is 1, and at location 2, I want to add, I want to add 0 comma 0. Okay, 0 comma 0. So what will happen? This will become one object and it will get added here. Okay, it will get added here. If I run this and if I call list x, so it will look like this. Okay, it will look like this. So this also act as a append. So it will become a sublist inside a parent list. Okay, it will become a sublist inside a parent list. So I hope this is also clear. Like it was kind of a straightforward. These three things was kind of a straightforward. If there is any question, drop in the comments, guys. If there is any question, drop in the comments. And if this is clear, again, I would need yes. If this is clear, I would need yes, or thumbs up would also work. Okay. If this is clear, yes, 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 yes. Great, 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 great. So, uh, we just have 10 minutes. Hmm, we could have gone to the other part, that is removing the items, but I think I will take that tomorrow. Meanwhile, what I will do is, hmm, I think I am not sure if I explain you the index function. So I did right now, but let's try and understand index function in list. Okay, index function in list. So with interest of time, I'm just explaining this index, and we will take this quick revision, and then we can close this session, right? So index function, it is it is used to find the index of any item. Okay, in the given list, and the syntax looks like this. So list dot index, then you have to mention the item and you have to mention the occurrence. Okay, you have to mention the occurrence. So this is the theory of index function. Let me just give you one example. Okay, let me just give you one example. What example? Let's say age. Okay, age is a variable. Age is a variable. So we have age of, let's say, 10, then we have 20, 34, 67. We have old age people also. We even have 80, then kids, and let's say youngsters. So we have all these age people. Okay. So I want to understand. So very first thing, there is one more function, that is max function. Okay. Inside a index function, I'm explaining a max function. Okay. Inside a index function, I'm explaining a max function. So in order to, let's say you want to find a max value from the list, you can use this like print max of age. Okay, max age. Just give me what is the max age. It will give me 80. Okay, it will give me 80. So let's come to index again. Okay, let's come to index. The syntax says you have to take a name of list. So we have a age as list, then you have to say index, right? You have to say index, and then you have to kind of let's say, mm, I want to know where this person located. Okay, what is the location of this maxed age person? So you can also say like this max age, max age. So you will get to know this person is at what location. Okay, you will get to know if this person is at what location. So if I run this, I will get to know this person is located at location 4. So so this is 0th, 1, and this is second, this is third, and this is fourth. Okay, this is fourth. So this is how we got 4. Okay, this is how we got 4. So this is how you can kind of find. This can also become an interview question, like given a list of or given a ages of a person's, find location of you know most aged person. So you can do like this, max of age, and you can use index function, right? Index function. To understand this more, to understand this indexed function more, let me just give you one more example. Let's say, age of index of, for example, 20. So if I say 20 का index क्या है, right? I want to know what is the age, what's the index of 20. So if I run this, I will get 1, right? Because 10 is 0, 20 is 1, right? 10 is 0 and 20 is 1. So let me just give you one question, okay? Tell me, mm, okay, you don't have a laptop, so that doesn't make any sense to ask you this question, but I'm skipping it now. So if I say insert or not index of mm, okay, let me just add one more. Let me just take one more example here. So I've told you this item, right? So we added these items here and we got the index, right? We added these items and we got the index. But what about the occurrence? Okay, but what about the occurrence? So let me take the same index, right? Let me take the same list, and now let me add one more 10 here. Okay, one more 10 here. So now we have two tens, right? दो बच्चे हैं हमारे पास. So the syntax says take a list name. So we have age, add index. So now we have added, add item. So I want to add item as 10, and add the occurrence. So occurrence means how many times that particular index has come, right? How many times that particular index has come. Or let's say I have like 77, 88, and then again 10. Okay, again 10. So what in this condition, what will happen? Like if I say age of what's the location of 20? I've got this, right? I've got this. But if I say give me index of 10, but which 10? Right? Which 10? So in that case, you have to mention it. So if I say 2, so it will give me the location of second occurred element. So this is location 2. So if I say 3, it will give me okay, this works for only 2. This works for only 2. Anyways, this works for only 2. Let me just check one second. Support system max size integer of 0. Yeah, it works for only 2. So yeah, I was saying that it will ask me for how many occurrence, right? How many occurrence. So it will give me the location of second one. It will give me the location of second one. So this is how the index function works, right? This is how the index function works. So I hope this is clear. This is also clear. This was kind of an easy one. Today's session was easy. Let me just give you quick recap. Let me just give you a quick recap. So today we learned about list functions. So these three functions that we learned today, that is append, extend, insert, and then index and max function, right? Index and max function. So we learned these 5 functions today, right? 5 functions today. So we will say part 1, Okay, these five functions. So the very first function was append, right? What append will do is it will add the element at end, right? It will add the element at end. And if I add a like a list, a smaller list or sub list, it will act as a sub list, right? It will act as a sub list. Whereas if I use extend function, it won't act as a sub list. It will blend into the entire list. Okay, it will blend into the entire list. So this is the main difference between append and extend. Then we took a interview question. So they will give you some input. So based on that, we use for loop, but we use the operators that we were learning previously. So those who are new, we will cover this again. And we use this append function that we freshly learned. So what append will do is this condition will find the element, and append will add the elements into the either into the even or odd. Okay, into the even or odd, and we got this even as even. Let me just take like this, like this. Okay, so how to print, we also learned this into print functions. So in order to if you want to go how I did this, if you want to learn this, you can go on the YouTube channel, and you will find this video. um, Anyways, here also you can find print functions explain. So you just have to click this link and you will get that video. Okay, so where I have explained print functions, right? I've explained print function and display function. So sure. So next what we learned is we learned insert function. So it does the similar task, but you have to mention the location of items, right? You have to mention the location of items. So I wanted to add Dhoni at location 1. So Dhoni came here into the football players. And similarly, I wanted to add this smaller list at location 2. So this became got added here. Okay. Then we understood index function. So index function, you have to, in order to, let's say you have a long list, and you want to see where which element is at what location. Okay. Which element is at what location, you can use that. And you can also use max function to get the largest item or maxed item from the list. Okay, it works only on integer. It works only on integers. Okay, integers. So I hope this is clear to everyone. I hope this is clear to everyone. If this is clear, if this is clear, that's all about, guys. Like if you have any question, you can type or open mic and we can talk, or you can just raise your hand. You can also talk. Otherwise, if you have understood everything, then you know what to do. You need to add big win with the long ends in the chat box and can close this call. If is there any question, you can ask. Otherwise, you can type win. If there is any question, you can ask, or otherwise, you can type win. Great, great. Okay, so that's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow for the next topics. All right, guys. Bye bye.